magical. There's nothing to beat a win at Wembley.
Black who's going to go for it. Black for the 1 point to win the grand final for Halifax, and he's done it. Ben Black strikes.
Hello, welcome to the first Talking the Facts of Life of 2021. Proud to be sponsored by Eclipse Energy.
Eclipse Energy!
There we go. And delivery. As always, my name is Mike Egg. Thank you very much for joining us once again. And as always, we've got producer aficionado, good friend and fan, Mr. Rick Farrar. How you doing, Rick?
Mr. Yorkshire, good evening.
Good evening. Always good to be back doing a normal podcast, isn't it? With all the other stuff that we've been doing. And because it's a special one for this year, we've got two very special guests. First of all, I'll look on my screen for the bottom left, modelling the new away shirt, and also our lovely sponsor, Eclipse Energy, Mr. Nathan Farrar.
Good evening, how are you doing?
Good evening, I'm well, very well. And to my bottom right, modelling not such a good a shirt, but Mr. Will Bonfield. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thanks guys. Thanks for having me.
Good, you are very, very welcome. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about, because as always with this show, we have very little to talk about, and all of a sudden in the last 24, 40 hours, loads of stuff's happened. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. On the theme of things just happening, just an hour or so before we have recorded, a bit of sad news of the passing of Matt King, OBE. To say, just really influential person. Suffered a really freak injury, left him handicapped when London played up at Halifax. I think he was at Kensington, wasn't it, Rick, that it happened, near Old Crocs, King Cross. Awful freak of an accident, left him handicapped, and he made the most of it, became a really good artist, and became a lawyer with it as well. He sadly passed away on this evening, and I know that he has such a lot of folk from Halifax, because it happened in Halifax, so we kind of adopted him on that one, but we do pass on our condolences to his friends and family with that one, and this show is dedicated to him, so rest in peace. Also, as we carry on for the first show of 2021, we'll look a little back to 2020. Thank you so much for the reaction for our review video, which is a sort of me and Rick laughed our asses off making it. Honestly, it was ridiculous how good it was. But no, thank you very much for the reaction to that. Hopefully, we can do a similar one next year.
The PC version as well. There were a lot of stuff that we took out of there. That
yes, we could make a review after dark version of it, but no. Thank you very much for that there. And so let's get into the first podcast of 2021. Let's leave 2020 firmly behind. It's in the rearview mirror. See you later. Let's full steam ahead 2021, and a brand new name, brand new club, as you can see Nathan wearing the shirt there. Halifax Panthers. We're all watching or involved in one way, shape or form that December evening. Nathan, I'll come to you first of all, since you played a central role with no one really knowing.
No.
First of all, what do you think? What do you think of the rebrand?
Yeah, it's had to happen, hasn't it? So I joined the brand exposure team. It was like freshly set up at the back end of 2019. You know, you'll all remember the Q&A like down at the Share that we recorded. It got pretty heated. So I approached David Grayson and said, listen, anything I can do, we need to pull ourselves out of this slump. Things were going terrible on the pitch. Crowds were decreasing. I said, anything we can do it. So he sent me this message saying brand exposure team. And I'm like, yep, cool. And one of the questions I always asked him, but what's his brand? Halifax RLFC, a place and 4 letters. And then we've had Jamie Gray in South Stand. We all thought he were insane coming up in 2017 saying, we'll be called Panthers. And fair play to him. He's got in there and it's happened. We've had so much success, like not so recent now, 11 years since we won a grand final, 9 since we won the Northern Rail Cup, and we have done nothing with it. We have never kicked on. 2015, we made the top 4. We were 1 win off of being at home in the £1 million game. What did we do? Yeah, we just spent all this money and finished 6th the year after. We had to kick on from success, but luckily, like 2020 was cancelled. It was a perfect opportunity, and now we've just got to create his own. Panthers will be the best thing that's happened to this club. Mark my words.
That's a mission statement and a half. Blimey, let's get on the field now. Let's go.
Absolutely, come on.
Will, you're a man of fine age like myself, not like these young'uns in there. What are your thoughts on the rebrand? Because obviously, lifelong fan like myself for donkey's years, you grown in the wool, facts fan. What does the Panthers mean to you, and how do you think are going to move forward with it?
I wasn't sure. I'll be honest, I wasn't sure, but I found the social media, the presence of the Panther and the Halifax Black Cat. I didn't know. I didn't know what it was about, so it was as new to me as it was to the rest of the population of Halifax. And I just thought that was a fantastic piece of exposure. It was great. The amount of interest it generated, sort of nationally, locally, of course, but down to being in national newspapers, was just fantastic. There's no way that can be a bad thing. I absolutely agree with Nathan. Yeah, I agree with Nathan that we haven't kicked on from the successes. The grand final win is 11 years ago. 11 years.
Yeah, 11.
Yeah, it's too long, and it's time we were there again. And yeah, we had some successes when we were punching above his weight or the underdogs and that kind of thing. But we've talked about what we should have done, could have done in 2019 perhaps, and didn't. So it was time for a fresh start, and I just think it's absolutely fantastic. You talk about us getting older, you talk about the fans getting older. The people that come to the Shea, they need the kids to come down. We need the kids of Halifax to get behind it, and what better thing to do than to have a brand like this, like the Panthers. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
No, I completely agree. I'll qualify that by saying I weren't sure either. I got told kind of early in the piece, obviously with Jamie, as you mentioned, Nathan, saying, we're going to call Panthers and that sort of thing. And it's like the automatic knee-jerk reaction of, why do we need to be called a silly name? Because I was, for a long time, thinking, well, our USP or the thing that stands us out is that we don't need a nickname. We don't need to be a bull or a rhino or a Viking or whatever. But at the end of the day, like, for a multitude of reasons, we didn't kick off in 2010. You could say that it's because Super League was a closed door and all that sort of stuff. There was loads of different reasons you could say behind them. But at the end of the day, we can't attract crowds for whatever reason to the Shea. We can't attract crowds. And I always remember the interview that Ian Crow did with the 4020 podcast when he said that the vast majority of our season ticket holders or walk-ups to the ground are the wrong demographic. They're the wrong age demographic for attracting fans. We've got a really good, loyal band of supporters, and you cannot knock them, and I will not knock them because paid hard-earned money to go watch us all over the place and that sort of thing. But we need to attract more people. We need to attract younger people.
I'd consider myself a young fan, and I'm nearly
40. I would, yeah.
And I'm nearly 40, do you know?
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, but going through for the rebranding and the more that I thought about it, the more I thought, you know what? It makes absolute sense. And the thing that I got told was like, it's not for you. It's not for your mates or whatever. It's for the next generation. It's not for us. It's for the people who are going to be receptive to it. I will still go down to the Shea if we were called Halifax Tiddlywinks and we played in pink and green. It would not bother me one bit. It's to attract people to the ground. And I'm going to say this again, Rick hates me saying this. The Toronto model, the way that they market the game and stuff, we need to take a big chunk out of their book for it. And we're starting now.
Toronto's a really good example, Mike. They still call themselves the Wolfpack. The fans that are still active on Twitter. The club pretty much doesn't exist anymore, but the Wolfpack, as is, does. They're still there. What a fantastic model to follow.
Yeah, and going by that as well, it's like when we were over there, the Toronto Raptors had just won the basketball playoffs, and a lot of the things were about the Raptors. And one of the arguments that I saw from people when the rebrand happened was, what have Panthers got to do with Halifax? Well, by the same token, what have Vikings got to do with Widnes? What have Dinosaurs got to do with Toronto? What have a lot of different nicknames you could find out about? it just, the more and more I think about it, the more it makes sense. And you mentioned 2020 being a write-off there, Nathan. What better time to be a complete clean slate, move on, and with this new brand, new identity, and kick on with that. And as we've seen with the levels of the merchandise in the shop, we were in the away shirt there, Nathan, and Rick's wearing the hat. It's just a buzz which we haven't had since. Well, since we've been Super League, I'll be brutal honest as that. Yes, the grand final were great, but we knew we couldn't go anywhere with it.
But as you
the
say,
Rail Cup were great.
No, grand final nor the Rail Cup were fantastic, but outside those 2,500 people that go, nobody knew anyway. Do you know that?
Yeah.
People across the country have heard about. You know, we were considered. I can't remember which publication it might have been serious about Rugby League. We were considered the best off-season Rugby League news was the rebrand of Halifax.
Yeah. It's one of them things. If we'd have played Rugby League in 2020, not only do I think we wouldn't have had a very successful year on the pitch, Panthers wouldn't have happened off it. Like, COVID has been terrible. It's been a terrible, terrible year for many reasons, like off the rugby pitch. But them people down at the offices of the Shea, they got their heads together and they've not stopped tirelessly through it. And it is, I'll say it again, it will be the best thing that's happened to the club. You've just got to give it time. If you're still on the fence with it, it's no different. It's just a different badge. Get down. It's not even for me. I'm 22 years old. It's not for me. It's for kids. Getting 5, 6, 7-year-olds through the doors.
Especially now, that Nathan, you're so right. Especially now, for every kid that comes down, there's a mum or a dad that brings him. They're having a chips, or we'll have a shirt while we're here. Do you know, that's it. All of that. Ultimately, the long and the short of it is money to buy better players. That's the absolute long and the short of it. Do you know, that's it. Exactly. It can't be a bad thing.
Definitely. And when we're talking about the ambition that we've got for the club, the fact that we had to dip out of the Super League application because our crowds weren't good enough, it's just an absolute war. It's just the alarm bell should be ringing, thinking what we are doing isn't working. So something needs to change. And
it weren't
if
good
we
enough.
don't try this, if we don't try this, and you hit the nail on the head there, Nathan. When I work in Bradford and I talk to people about Halifax and they go, they'll talk about the Bulls or the Rhinos and that sort of thing. What Halifax call RLFC? Why should we go watch them kind of thing? No one really knows about it. Whereas, as you mentioned there, Will, about the media campaign and the viral, the CCTV stuff, they were talking about it. They came up to me and I go, what's this Black Can thing all about, Mike? And I'm like, I don't know. But it's needed. Change is needed, and we need to go for it. It's such a perfect opportunity for us to push through now, and we could have carried on being RLFC and carried on the same thing, and have the good old merry band of supporters doing the same old. But something had to change, and like
we were.
I remember speaking to my dad about it because he was obviously the same thing as me. He just like went, bloody Panthers, what's that? And I said, well, are you still going to go and stand on terraces and cheer on Jacob Fairbank? Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, that's the whole point.
It doesn't change your experience.
You're still going to go to the Shea watching a team called Halifax play in blue and white hoops. Play.
That's it. I've had some people come with some weird excuses to like deny it. I had one person obviously knowing where I stand, and like we all sing it. Like, well, what are we going to sing now? The same songs. If anything, we just get more. We've had a lot. And touching back onto the criteria to make Super League, we weren't just short. We were well off by at least 600 fans. What more can you say? If something's got to change, then with the time, we were 600 fans away from having a successful application in Super League. Not 600. I remember we played, and the brilliant games to guide it off. Toulouse at home, London at home. You know there's not going to be many, if any, away fans. And in 2019, we played Toulouse at home. It was one week after the Bash, if I remember it rightly. We had 1,190 at home. It was empty.
It was after the cup semi-final. I remember it very well. Yeah, and the cup semi-final as well, we only took 2,000-ish fans for supposedly the biggest game in a decade.
We made a lot of noise, though.
Oh, of course we are, yeah.
But
I
the
didn't get my voice back for 3 days.
1,190 make a lot of noise.
No.
It's new noise we need to bring in.
Absolutely.
That's it. At the end of the day, it's new noise. I'd rather have like a stadium full of like families enjoying it. I mean, we've got them dads that are trying to set up the dad section in the south stand. I want to see that.
I was just gonna say that to you, Nathan. Obviously, you've got a young family yourself.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on bringing your little and stick game and what do they think of the rebrand?
The only one that's probably old enough to like understand that the name's changed is Jackson, and he's 7. And the minute he clapped eyes on the home shirt, because I got it on launch night, can I have one? The minute he got home and clapped eyes on my away shirt, can I have one? We never had that. Like we never had that with the terms of the old shirts. It was I'll get you one. One of them. So I got my season ticket, and you got 2 kids with that. All my others are young, so they'll just be forced into it. They'll be wall against Fax fans.
Like we all were.
Yeah. Like, I had no choice. My dad took me down for £1 against Whitehaven in 2008, and that's it. I've never missed a home game since. So
you're making me feel old. Come on, man.
But
yeah, no, kids love it.
It's just a feel-good atmosphere. It's a feel-good optimism for the start of a season. I genuinely haven't felt this excited. Even if you put the caveat of not playing all last year and all that sort of stuff, I genuinely haven't felt this excited for the start of a season in ages. And it's just just going to be, even though the first games are going to be streamed and stuff like that, I can't wait.
It was since the disappointment of 2019.
Yeah,
because we were going to win 10 straight. We all went into 2019 thinking it's the strongest side we've had since winning. You know, that's it. And for whatever reason, we just didn't click that season, and the rest is history. But if anything, the feeling this year is it's a different level. We've snuck in under the radar a little bit. Some of the players we've signed, they're fantastic, but people aren't giving us a lot of credit. You know. We'll come on to
which is what we all like, which is what Halifax always perform the best in. We're not good being favourites. We're the best when we're an underdog, and I'm glad you've touched on the new signings because it's what we're going to come to next, Will. So it's all tying in very, very nicely. You talked about the promotional video and stuff that they did. Greg Worthington, the star of that video, I can't wait to see him in action. Like when he played for Toronto, it was great for them, but when he played for Fairvenley, he's just quality at this level. Yes, Steve Tyra has been brilliant for us, and it's a shame to see him go, especially not breaking the record. But no offence to Tyra at all, signing Worthington is a big step up in class for what we need in that respect. I can't wait to see him play. Do any of the new signings catch your guys' eyes at all?
Yeah, 6 and 7, Liam Harris and Connor Robinson. We've been crying out for pace from the middle for years. I mean, I love Scott Morrell. He coached me at college level for years and years, but he got slower and slower, and everyone was crying out, put him at loose, and it never happened. I think for the first time since Shad Royston, Miles Greenwood, that type, Rob Warranty on the wing, Ben Black, Luke Brannigan, we're going to have pace, real pace, and the props that go with it, Dizzy and Gadwin Springer, if they are anything like I think they're going to be, Robinson and Harris are just going to have a field day playing off the back of them. I am so excited to see them two play. And the brilliant thing about it is, I don't know if many people know, done the research into it, they have played together for a long time, them two as well, like right from junior level. Yeah. Then obviously Harris was at Hull FC, he played on loan at Hull KR, and then he was loaned to York. So in the 2000, and I think it was the year they finished third, 2019, that was that combination that got York there. Yeah. We have that now. If you just watch York in 2019, I remember playing them away and they hammered us. Kicking game, long and short, passing game. It was an absolute booming day, and I went home with my tail between my legs so much because that performance for me, although 2019 very sodden year for Fax. That performance for me showed what we were missing, and to let go of Muzza and Tyra, many fans had to let go of sentiment, and that's the thing that the club had, like big connections to players. But at the end of the day, if it's not working anymore, you've got to get rid. Tyra were so close to breaking a points record, and Grix has thought, no, I need a younger, more adapt centre for what I want to play with.
Steve Tyra is a hero of the club for now and forever.
Absolute legend.
It always will be. But the time had come. We needed a strike centre, faster, someone with a better ability for passing to release the winger more. And that's it. There's nothing he will always be a hero of the club.
100%. Nothing will beat a Stevie Salmon.
No, yeah, exactly. And you just know that he's going to score against us.
Yeah,
you know he's going to score against us. That's going to be by the by. But yeah, I completely agree.
Do you think he'll get a game? No, sorry. Do you think he'll get a game at Widnes?
He's been given a number 4 shirt. Yeah, he's been given a number 4 shirt.
Okay, yeah.
From the stuff that I've watched on Widnes's social media and stuff, he seems very, very involved. And why wouldn't you have him? Widnes is kind of his adopted hometown. Is still an incredible goal kicker, and a lot of people saying that the only reason he made the team was for his goal kicking. Well, I think that's an absolute farce. But if you've got one tool, which is great, then why not use it? But yeah, it'll do a job there. But we need to move on. We need to be fresh. We need to cut those ties. You're absolutely right there, Nathan. Rick, you're doing a really good mime artist there.
I haven't said anything, to be honest with you. I've got loads of notes and had a chance to chip in, but I think the big question I want to ask is, Stevie Tyra scores against us at the Shea. Big question, does he celebrate?
No,
and he'll get booed. He'll get booed.
I don't think he will. I think someone might break into song. I do.
I'll break into song.
You boo him during the game and you give him a send-off after.
Yeah.
The song would come out just because we never got a chance to give them a send-off.
That's it. Mate. They deserved them. If any two
and
deserved
they've done
them,
nothing. They've done nothing wrong. Like I 100% agree with you, Nathan, about the halfback combination. It'll be like watching the game in fast forward because they are Quicksilver, the Harris and Robinson, but Morel did his job, and you cannot replace experience and a football brain. And you think of the big games that Halifax played in, the amount of times which Morel won for us with stuff. You can't replicate that, but this is Grix's team now, and you could argue that Tyra and Morel and others that have gone are Marshall signings, and it's just
Al Harrison signings.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, it is that long ago, but
that's how good they were.
Let's talk.
Yeah, of course.
Let's talk about new signings again. One personally, because we know we're pretty solid at hooker, but we lost another one of those sort of from the old guard. The guy that I'm looking forward to seeing who's going to be, I think, will be Hodges, Brandon Moore's sort of rotation pattern, and that's Amir Burra from Wigan on loan.
Yeah,
it looks fast, skillful, strong, hard hitting in defence, wants to be a local lad, so he's not going to be travelling and all that. Will fit in, he seems like the kind of person. Grix has known him a long time. He's the lad where I think that, because we've talked about it on this podcast before, haven't we, that there are times Brandon Moore isn't just a hooker. There are times where you can kick him to 13 for his ball skills and he's tough to play him in the middle and put another hooker in and have two rotations. You might see that with more options, but I'd love to see a time when you've got those two and Harris and Robinson on the field together.
We're getting giddy.
I know, I'm getting excited.
It's like going back to the days of Penkovic, Black, Bezic and Brannigan, isn't it? It's just, it's mouthwatering.
Winning a game 44-30.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully we've got a bit more defensive structure under Grix. But you make a really good point there, Rick, because Brandon Moore went to Huddersfield last year on loan, and we were talking off air about the impact that he had in terms of the fitness and strength, the fitness test strength that he did and that sort of thing. Brandon Moore played big minutes for Huddersfield. There were plenty of games where I don't think he even went off or had a quick 5-10 minute spell. If he can carry on doing that and have Burrow coming on and being fresh little data around the acting half, I think that'll be brilliant.
dynamic of your bench as well, because it means you don't have to go with a forward. If Pudge can play 80 minutes between 9 and 13, you can lose a prop, you can rotate further forward around your pack, and you can always have either a sort of jack in the hat type of player to put on and change the game, or you can have a back just in case of injury. Because, like I say, I really think injuries are going to play a big part in this, with the long break and coming back.
About where you're going to put her back. Well, yeah. Where do you guys see Woody?
Oh, full back.
Yeah. That's the $1 million question. Like, this podcast is unofficially the James Woodburn All Appreciation Society. We absolutely love the guy, and personally,
on again though, can we? Because last time we did, he got dropped by Marshall. We've got a bit of a has to get dropped for weeks, or if some of the other lads, they all left, didn't they? Like.
Yeah, we've all never had 3 players on the podcast. When Woodburn All were on, he got dropped and didn't play for weeks afterwards. And then we had Tyra and Morell on, and they both left. So, but we're not having any players on until until then. Yeah, it's. Do you have any others, Will, that you're looking forward to at all? Any of the new guys, or even like well, we'll talk about Woody, won't we? I think his biggest strength is also his weaknesses. So he can play anywhere. You can put him at 13, like we did against Bradford. He can be a fullback, he can be halfback. He's just got to be on the field because he can make something happen. I always link to, I don't want to put too much pressure on him. I like him to Jake Connor, because Jake Connor is one of the guys that can make things happen. He plays centre for all, but more often than not, he puts himself at first receiver. Interesting with Hull, they put him back to fullback for this year. Yep. I wouldn't rule out Scott Griggs. I think Scott Griggs, he got a lot of undue stick from fans, and he was playing really, really well. And he through 2019 and also at the start of last season, with not playing for a year and getting the old war wounds healed, I think he'll start
have a good year. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And again, it's experience as well.
I've watched that. We talked about the semi-final cup game.
Yeah,
I was a massive QLT fan, massive, and I couldn't understand why. For me, we weren't bringing probably our best strike weapon. But I've watched that game over and over, and you just see the strategy. He plays in the defensive line, so we're always 13 on 12 from our side from a defensive point of view, and it's a coaching. It was a piece of genius, but he made it happen on the day. And had Griggs not have played that defensive role, they could have done what everybody was predicting him to do and put 50 on us.
Yeah, if you watch that game back, you will just keep watching Griggs. I said it whilst I was there, and I was very, very drunk. We would have had probably 50, 60 put past us without Griggs on that pitch. That is the best game I think he's had in the Faxtop.
Yeah.
But I could say that about all 13 of them.
I don't know, 2004.
2004, that try.
No.
But no, again, touching on that point, the players, you said before, Rick, that it's going to be interesting in terms of what the players are going to be like when we do start playing again and that sort of thing. The older players who haven't had such a long time off games, they're going to get their war wounds healed and that, and I think it will do them the world of good. And I think Scott Griggs he'll definitely start out at fullback, and he'll do really well. I think what Simon Griggs, as coach, has got in his armour is he can probably pick 2 or 3 or 4 players for certain games. And like you could really mention there, Will, about the semi-final, that was the game for Scott Griggs to be defensive, because we were down the barrel of a gun against Saints with all their strike weapons that we've got, and Scott Griggs stood up and he was absolutely magnificent that day. Other times, QLT, against Bradford at the Bash, he was really good that day, and other times against Feather at the Bash and Dewsbury and that sort of thing. I reckon he's got the capability of playing certain players in certain positions for certain teams, and that's a sign of a clever coach with a good squad that he's got there, and the quality of the players, because Scott Griggs did drop into the halfback in attacking some games and did really well. It's just exciting, really. It's really exciting. I don't know.
Versatile team, haven't we, that can play a number of positions. I like the fact that we've got depth, not just in numbers, but in terms of positions, so we can go. It can rotate. Well, we might end up. No one knows how the COVID is going to go to get an infection and people get shut down. We're going to have to squeeze games in midweeks and stuff. Say we played, I don't know, Bradford and Toulouse separate weekends, but we drew someone in midweek. You can say, right, you concentrate on Sunday. We're going to put you there. We have got these lads that can sort of fit in, but I want to bring it back to Woody because Will brought him up. I think he said at one point during one of his interviews at the back end of last year that he is or has the potential to be the most talented player in the squad by quite some distance. And if you've got a player, I don't know if you saw the training videos that got put out, but there's a behind the back flick that he does, which is absolutely effortless. If you go back and watch it, you'll check it out. But I agree with what Mike said as well. He's the type of player you need to have in your team. I just love all these different types of players, different weapons that can fit in. And like I say, that brings it back to my point about it gives you so many more possibilities as the year goes on with what you do with your bench. Because I really think benches are going to have a big impact on games this year.
No, for sure. And just as we're coming up to the end of the final, the first part, even we talked about Brandon Moore. He's our new captain. What a choice! As I say, I personally would have picked Jacob Fairbank myself, but definitely not complaining about Brandon Moore. If you talk about leading by example and the start of a new era and stuff, what a player! And I don't think the honour will weigh him down. I don't think it'll change his mentality whatsoever. He'll lead from the front.
The opposite, if anything, it might. Another touch of inspiration, not that he needs any in any way, shape or form. It might just be the responsibility. He's had one or two run-ins with one or two referees over the years. That's it. And it might be the responsibility of leading a team might just curb that over-enthusiasm slightly. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, for me... Yeah, again, I thought it was Fairbank an absolute shoe-in, just because when you look at your captain, you look at your experience and who's been here the longest per se, and I thought it was a shoe-in. But then it dawned on me when he was there, we've had Brandon Moore for 6 years. Like, it's because for so long, like, not like we're in Ben Kay's shadow, because he well held his own, like, when he come on, but how he only got the number 9 shirt in 2019, I think. 20, I think it was 20. So when Ben Kay, I don't know if he retired or not. So, 6 years, and in them 6 years, he has done more than enough and got the fan base's respect and his squad's respect, and obviously Grix's respect to be put there. And I think it will not change him one iota. If anything, it will just make him better.
I just want to say, I think that Ben Kay hasn't retired. I think it's time for Batley, hasn't he? Are we going to play him in?
No, has he? Yeah.
Oh,
I know that Gilmore's gone to Batley, which should be very interesting.
I seen that. Obviously, we'll see how quickly he gets injured on that slope. But I've not seen anything against Ben Kay signing. I'm sure he went to Hunslet, but then retired.
I thought he went to Hunslet.
Yeah. I'm unsure where he is, and I loved Benny Kay. Obviously with his, everyone loved Benny Kay. It was brilliant because of the absolute brilliance that he left Fev for us and stayed for so long and stuck it to Fev every time we played. And so, but no, Moore is the right choice to be captain, mainly because he'll probably stay on the pitch longer than Fairbank will as well. If we play Fairbank at prop, he's rotated off in 20-minute periods. That's when you change over to him.
Nathan, that's a really good point about keeping your captain on the field like that. Yeah. Fairbank is Fairbank, that's it. But it does help having him on the field.
Yeah, it's one of them.
It might what Rick said about having him on for longer minutes. That might be Grix's tactic to leave him on the field for those long minutes.
Got to look at what are the attributes you need to be a captain or to be selected as a captain. And I think the one word that I've written down here in massive block capitals is the most is respect. They need to respect.
Yes.
They need to respect you as a player. They need to respect that you're there to work your arse off for each other and for them. And I think Brandon Moore is the most respected player at the club. I think Grixie sort of saw that. If you've got someone, he's played with him, so he's got a unique insight into what kind of guys all these guys would be as captains, because he's been through all these army camps as a player, and now he's his coach, isn't he? So I think he's got a better insight than most. I mean, I have to admit, I thought a bit of Fairbairn, but I said very early on, my choice would have been Brandon Moore.
We all thought he were going to leave and go to Huddersfield. We all thought they were going to wave the magic money tree, and just for him to come back is fantastic. And what a reward to have him as captain.
I never
Definitely.
ever doubted the fact that he wouldn't come back.
Wow.
There you go. And what a better play to reward loyalty than to give him that captainship and to carry us on to this new era in that thing there. I know I can see the timer going down, Rick, so we will end the first part of the Talking the Facts of Life first 2021 podcast there, and we will see you on the other side. Hello, welcome to the second part of Talking the Facts of Life. We've got loads and loads of stuff to talk about. We've done already. We've got loads and loads and more stuff to talk about in this second part. As always, I say as always all the bloody time, don't I? Yes, Rick can do the introductions. Yes. Mine is Mike Haig, as always, and as always, is my right-hand man, aficionado, tech guru, Mr. Rick Farrell. And we are proud, and we are proud to be sponsored by Eclipse Energy and Delivery. That's a model led by Mr. Farrar, and we have as our guest Mr. Nathan Farrar.
Hello.
And we also have our unofficial NRL correspondent, Mr. Will Bonfield.
All right.
That's going to be your role now. Any sort of NRL news is going to be like, well, we're going to bring in our correspondent now.
I only watch like 25 hours a week.
That's after the rehab for addiction, is it? Hey, there's worse things to be addicted
every second. That's what he's basically saying.
Yeah. Hey, it's Rugby League, can't complain. If it was other rugby sports like American football, I might have a different opinion on that. Super Bowl what? So, this second part now, we've got... Let's actually talk about the season, shall we? The fixtures are here. We've actually got let's use a term of the moment, we've got a roadmap of what our season's going to look like. Oh, yes, I know. My finger's right there on the pulse. And breaking news again, like we didn't know this 24 hours ago. We've got a friendly. We've actually got a proper pre-season friendly against Oldham away. And I think it's a great fixture to choose. Fair local derby. Oldham have just come up from the division below. They've got a good young side, good young coach in Matt Diskin. Great little warm up. It's a shame we're not going to be there, but we'll all be streaming, won't we?
They won't pull any punches, will they? They're not going to hold back in any way, shape, or form. So it's a good test for us. What we've got with Huddersfield is an opposed training session. It's at the Shea, behind closed doors. Yeah, it's a good chance to test against the Super League. And it strengthens the ties, the loan for Brandon was a season long of Sam Hewitt. It's fantastic. And long may that continue, having seen other championship clubs do so well out of dual reg and with respect us either through choice or through not doing particularly well out of it. I think the relationship we've got with Huddersfield is fantastic. But I think Oldham will give us a game.
Yeah.
Obviously will.
Definitely, they've got another ex-Fax legend, Ben Heaton, playing for them as well.
Heaton Rifles.
Yeah. Hopefully, he won't play too well against us, but it's definitely a good workout. It's what's needed. When I first saw the news about the opposed training session thing, I was like, surely we need a friendly, but they've come good in the end, so I'm glad they've got that. And it's been streamed on our league, like the first round of the cup that we are playing against Batley at the Shea. There, very winnable tie, but this season could be a bit of a lottery, really, because on about being under the radar, Batley are the ultimate under the radar team. No one has any expectations about little old Batley, but let's just say I'm glad we're playing at home rather than at Mount Pleasant. Because what a baptism of fire that is. Here's a year off playing rugby, lads. Here's Mount Pleasant Slope.
No tar.
Here's a nice flat, wide football pitch for you. What are your thoughts? Decent draw, I think, and certainly a winnable tie. And there's a decent reward. If you ever needed a reward for winning a cup tie, we will be playing the winner. Well, if we win, sorry, I'll be professional about this. If we get through, that we play the winner of Batley and Bradford and Featherstone. So just a very quiet tie there. First of all, chaps, what do you reckon? Winnable game? What?
Yeah, definitely Batley's winnable. And Honours Day, we're away, so we might have a chance against Fev. I think we beat Fev once in 12 years at the Shea. So I'd rather play Fev away than at home.
Yeah, me too.
I'm sure, I don't know, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure I read something that if you win your first 2 rounds, you get a bye to the semi-final of the 1895 Cup, which puts you 1 game away from a trip to Wembley. So in terms of that, and the fact that, I've never been to Wembley with facts, I'm too young, too little. Yeah, the second round draw sort of knocked me back down to earth. I was hoping for not a lesser team, because obviously most of us are in the same league, but a lower down the pecking order, and probably, in my opinion, Featherstone away. So, but yeah, it's a winnable task. We can beat anybody on this day. We know this. So
absolutely,
yeah, we just got to go out and do it. If not, we'll just get to the final of the 1895 Cup by ourselves. We don't need no buys.
We don't need that prestigious challenge. We did a semi-final of the year. We don't need that anymore. We're all good on that one. And it's good that it's been streamed by our league. It's the buzzword of the last 18 months, isn't it? Streaming the games. Yeah, it's done through our league.
It's really good that it's free for season ticket holders.
Yeah, free for season ticket holders, and £5 for early bird and a tenner if you pay on the day. At the end of the day, we're not a massive sport. We don't have the massive blue chip backing behind us that the NRL, for instance, having that sort of thing, and clubs are going to be missing out on income. It's one way to get the income there. It's people have just got to embrace it. We'd all love to have our bums on seats, feet on terraces at the game there, but it's
any rugby league. At the moment. Sorry, Mike, I'm interrupting again. Any rugby league on TV, on the internet, is better than no rugby league.
Exactly.
100%.
March the 8th, 2020 was our last game.
Wow.
Yep. So,
wow.
So by the time we play, it's gonna be over a year. So I don't mind. Normally, I hate watching Halifax on time when I can't be there. It's the worst experience of my life, but I'll gladly take it. For these 2 months.
It's a massive game. For me, the friendly against Oldham's bigger than the Batley game because it's historic. It's the first ever Halifax Panthers competitive game, kind of semi-competitive game. The first time that we're really going to run out as a club as Halifax Panthers, and we'll be able to.
It's momentous, but say it's more important than an actual competitive cup game, Rick. Come on. All right. I know you don't like the cup. I know you never like the cup, but
I want to win the league. We're not going to win the cup.
We will. Obviously, that's going to happen. We've got to get cup sorted first. But yeah, and if we're talking about the league, that's come up in London. Is it London at home that we play first off?
Yep.
Again,
winnable, definitely.
Last time we played London at home, we beat them in the cup. So it's
before we go down the whole fixture list. Can we bring up the pre-season odds from? I think it was Sky Bet that put us down at. I think it was 8 favourites behind some other clubs such as York, Newcastle, some of the other clubs
behind Newcastle.
Yeah. Newcastle, I think 40-1. Something like that.
We're 80. We're 80 or something. Yeah. We're 80-1.
It's good to stick a tenner on, isn't it?
Oh, for sure. And it's like we said previously, under the radar. Gladly, write us off. Absolutely fine. You do that. Don't put pressure on us. That is no problem at all. I know there's some people who've said, well, we finished eighth in 2019 and we were having the best of seasons in 2020. So what? It's a different team. It's a different world. Yes, we all know we're better than eighth. And yeah, I'm just glad that we are going under the radar. That's one thing I will say.
Are we?
Then you've got to look at that, and who's been picked above us? You've got Newcastle, as you said, they've come up. They've made a few sort of good signs, but it takes a year to. Maybe they're thinking they'll do a similar thing to York. London, I've got it on good authority this year that London are sort of having a rebuilding year with youth. And
they've lost a lot of players. They lost a lot of players that got them to where they were.
Kieran Dixon's they've gone on there. That's a big loss for him.
They're really putting a lot of work into growing the sport down there, and they should be applauded for that. Are they going to be pushing at the top end of the championship? I wouldn't have thought so. But I mean, who are we to know? Do you know that it's what they're doing for the game down there is fantastic. They argued, we should have been the ones to go back up because we came down from Super League. It's not the same team. It's not the same team. We lost an awful lot of the play. Eddie Batty gone, all sorts of, shouldn't have.
Where's Batty gone? Where's Batty gone? Is he in Super League? Yeah, I'm glad because he tore us a new one every time we played against him. Couldn't stand it. Really good player.
Dixon's a big loss. He's gone to York as Dixon, and he especially on their pitch down there, he was rapid.
Mike, you're not saying that 3G pitch was any different to playing on a normal pitch, are you?
for quick-footed people like myself, it's a massive difference. My grease lightning feet.
Well, London are rebuilding. There's talk of Toulouse obviously having some potentially early season problems that restrict them, so they're going to have their issues to deal with. We mentioned Bev. I mean, who else is the Leah gone now? So you look
York, mate. York.
I think Bradford are above us.
Bradford, yeah, as well.
Yeah, Bradford.
The one thing about Bradford, people like Danny Bruff. Danny Bruff's a fantastic signing for the Championship. Yes, he is. Age is not on his side. But when you talk about rugby brain, look what Morel did for us for so many years. It's almost a similar sort of signing for Bradford. Is that his kicking game on a day?
Yeah,
was one of the best. It was one of the best in the Super League. It's certainly one of the best in the Championship now.
Is a great partner for Jordan Lilly as well. If them two can click, along with the other good young, because they've got a decent young backline of Bradford. They've got like Pickers Gill, and they've lost Ethan Ryan, haven't they? But they've got got Oates, and they've got quite a good young
Johnson.
Yeah, they've got some decent players there, and if they can click alongside the big forwards that they've got, the likes of Crossley, and they've got some good players at Bradford, but it's just, again, they're pinning all their hopes. If Bruff gets injured or banned, which is probably the most likely, that's it.
We're talking about a man that got sent home from the World Cup whilst captaining his own country for being drunk and disorderly. Do you know that's it?
Yeah.
Previously,
he was being sent off more than once for calling the referee a cheat as well. So
in his defence, it was the Scotland national team. You wouldn't expect anything less from the Scots, would you?
You want to sell the game. You want to sell Super League to Scottish people. That's a folklore story they can get behind. The Scotland captain the World Cup for being drunk and disorderly, like, he's a job. Well, actually, he's from. Never mind. We don't talk about that. but all of which, he did a poster boy until they Google searched him and saw him in an England shirt, and then it would all just go back to zero again.
Yeah, very true. All of which, though, we talked about is showing that we're going under the radar and no one's expecting anything of us. And I can't think of a better position for us to be in. Because it's just there's no pressure on us. I still think we've got one of the best squads in the league, and it's about whether we click or not. If you run down our squad, and I've not got blue and white tinted specs on here. If you subjectively or objectively, I can't remember which one is, but as a neutral, go down all our players. They had some really, really good talent there, and even if one gets injured, we've mentioned Woodburn Hall and Grix. their versatility. If Robinson or Harris get injured for whatever reason, one of them can go into the halves, and it's going to be different, but they can do a job there. If Brandon Moore, heaven forbid, does get injured, we've got Amir Burrow and Curtis Davis, who again, me and Rick absolutely love the guy. I think if he's given the chance, he'll be absolutely brilliant. Will Curtis Davis?
I'll third that.
Yeah, we've got that strength in depth, and we've got other players like Sean Jones, the forgotten man. Depends what he's going to be like, but we've got that strength in depth.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, it's exciting stuff. It's exciting stuff, and I'm glad that we have. It's funny how at 8-1, it's just daft when you look at other teams. But I'm glad that they thought that lowly of us, really.
Yeah, me too. Interestingly, on your point, like if you looked at it from the neutral point of view, when we released our squad numbers, I had a neutral message me, a Super League fan, Hull FC, I think. How have you built that team when you reported, like we reported financial problems in I think it was early last year, like 3 months into the pandemic, and everybody was giving us grief for it. And then not only have we gone under the radar, like in pre-season, we've gone under the radar through this entire thing. Like we've got Gadwin, Springer, like obviously Toronto, the situation that's happened there, whether you agree with it or not, that has allowed us to sign players that otherwise would not have been available. But Greg Worthington from Toronto to Halifax, how? Like
he should be playing Super League still.
Yeah, recruitment could not have been better.
And it's a nice spread. It's not like eggs in one or two baskets. Oh, we bought so and so, and he's come from Wigan, and that's all we're going to have. We've got a real strength in depth across the squad. It's clever signings.
Very clever.
You've got to have respect for the board and the work that they've done and what they've put together. It's fantastic. The work off the field is amazing. For us to be in this, like you said, Nathan, for us to be in the situation where we were and where we are now, no Championship Rugby League team is comfortable, but we're doing all right. Off the back of the Panthers, off the back of record sales in the shops, off the back of season ticket sales, even though we don't know what's going to happen with the season, the support is there. Definitely.
It's very, very much exciting. Let's make no bones about it, though. COVID has kind of been good for Halifax in some respects, because furlough scheming have not been paying for players. We talked about Tyra and Morel, the right time to get rid of them. Probably two of the biggest earners at the club, and I don't think that Worthington will probably be on top dollar, and to re-sign Brandon Moore to keep him off Super League backs, we'll probably have to reinvest in that. But I think that money's being used to get more quality. Well, more quantity rather than a spread of quality and quantity rather than quality in one person. Like we mentioned Danny Bruff. Bradford seemed to have just gone, Danny Bruff, you are the man to take us forward. Anything happens to him, he's gone.
Yeah,
gone.
Definitely to dip back into the Panthers rebrand sort of thing. So, like, if anyone's still on the fence about it, every single player that we've signed, like, before we announced the Panthers, they knew that we were coming to Panthers. So Greg Worthington, Springer, all these signed as we were at Halifax Rugby League, knowing and fully behind the Panthers drive. And if we're signing players before it's announced, there is no reason why the fan base can't get behind it as well. Just a little plug. I'm sorry, I'm so pro Panthers. It's something.
No, put it away. It's great to see. And myself, going back to the point I made earlier, Worthington and Springer both played for Toronto, so they know how good it is to play behind a big brand, a big brand. And they played for the Wolfpack. They're playing for the Panthers now, and it's exciting times. And like, I don't want to get carried away with myself, because I don't want to be the kind of big, look at us, we've got great squad.
Well,
and then
we don't want another 2019.
No, we don't. Well, and then it's when I used to do the radio show down at Phoenix and stuff. I remember vividly doing the preview show with Matt Shaw. I think you were down there, Rick, as well. I think I said then, it's on paper that was one of the strongest squads that we've had since we were down in the Championship. But look what happened. It's all about gelling. And if we click, if that group of players click, because we've got the right mix of experience with Fairbank, Worthington, Grix, and other players like that, along with youth. I'm not just talking about 18, 19-year-olds, but relative youngsters. Ain't Gadwin Springer something like 23 or 24 or something like that? He's young for a prop. And Dan Murray as well. Dan Murray is probably one of the best signs of the season. I think he's a quality player.
I believe Dan Murray will be the prop to watch in the league. When we had him on loan, he was outstanding.
Yeah. If they can click, if people can, and we've mentioned the dynamic that Harrison and Robinson have already, and it's always great if you've got that personal relationship going if you're an halfback. If they can click early on, then he's going to go one wild ride.
Yeah, if I could have one worry, and it's a worry that every fan will probably have in the back of their mind when you let go so many and bring in 9, you always worry, especially with reduced training sessions, about can the team gel quick enough? We've got a tough start, let's be honest. So within the first 4 games, we'll play 3 of the top 6 essentially. So we've got to hit the ground running. We can't start slow again.
No.
But there's something to be said, almost on the other side of that, about having so many new players. How many times, if Morel went off injured, did we collapse? Nobody could get
Friday. That was awful.
Nobody could get us over the line. Nobody could just drive it like the thing. And it wasn't a one-man team. It was always we were always a team. But it was just that extra gear, that extra lift to the side. Whereas I'm hoping that because we've got so many new sides, and they've all come, and it's all under Grix's systems, all from day one. Yeah. But it doesn't matter which player's in which position on any day, on any team, against who we're playing. Injuries notwithstanding, we'll play the systems and we'll win the games.
Yeah, definitely. We've never had, in my time anyway, a proper ruthless coach. We've always had, in my time, 3 in, 4 out. I said from the minute Grix took over, we had to get to where we needed to be at the end of 2019. Unfortunately, we didn't, which then sort of halted progress for recruitment for 2020. We had to eventually have the point where Grix said, no, I want the mass clear out that the club desperately needed. I think we've got 11, 12 and brought in 9.
It's a big exit, yeah.
It's ruthless.
Yeah.
But there's no excuses now. There's nothing to hide behind. It's his team.
You're absolutely right. You hit nail on the head there. I think Grix weren't helped in the early days because you had like Morel and Tyra and that on long-term contracts, on big money contracts sort of thing there. Whereas now, he's got. It just seems to me that he's got carte blanche. Gone right. I'm having him. They've gone. I want him. And knowing. And well, Rick will qualify what I'm saying. Knowing Grix as a player, but also in terms of the interviews that he's given, he seems very, very strong-minded, and he knows exactly what kind of player that he wants. Yeah. Do you want to qualify on that, Rick? Because I say you know him better than all of us.
And a few notes here about sort of the points you've been making. I think bring it back when you were on about Gadwin Springer and Greg Worthington, sort of seeing what it's like to play Super League week in and week out. I think one thing you miss with them is they know what it's like, and they have experienced the feeling of getting promoted from the Championship, making the Championship Grand Final, winning it, getting promoted and playing in Super League. And that is something that experience, when it gets to the later stages of the season, they just have a word in your ear and say, you need to step it up here. These lads know what it takes. Every interview they've done as well, one thing you've seen is every player seems to be sort of echoing Grix's words. So when you hear it from the top and it filters all the way down, and that's how you build a culture of a club.
Absolutely. Ethos.
Yeah. But we've got a good mix of personalities. We've got some, the great thing I love about Grix is he's bang honest. He's no BSer. If he thinks it, he'll tell you. If he thinks it needs to be said. But we've got like cocky halfbacks. We've got sort of big sort of personalities in the backs and with skills, and then we've got forwards that are sort of, I don't know what the word I'd use, to not bashful necessarily, but sort of like,
just get on with it. they're quiet and they just get on with it. No, not you get on with it.
Oh,
I mean, no.
Yeah.
No. I mean, some of the forwards, they're quiet. They're not like Fairbank. He just wants to get on with it.
No,
He wants to do the work.
The best forward, and I'd say for 2-3 seasons that we have at the club, that does his job quietly, but bloody good is Morris. Elliot Morris is amazing.
Yeah.
He is amazing at what he does, and it goes so unnoticed. Like if you said to me like 2019, who's his best prop? Fairbank. That's all you'd have got. But Morris he's so good, and what he does is brilliant. And I'm so glad that he has retained like a number. I think he's 10 and Dizzy's 8.
Murray's 10,
So
Morris is 8.
So he's retained his like top, because my God, he's earned his stripes and he flies so under the radar. I love Morris, like love him. Quality player.
He gets better year on year, doesn't he? He's just
Definitely.
improved. I think there were one year when I voted him player of the season, when I can't remember who got it, Morel or Tara or whatever. He was the best player.
I voted him in 2019.
I think it really.
He was just a mainstay.
We're talking about the things that Grix has done and building a squad and everything. I think massive props have got to go to Crowdy, Ian Crowdy, the football director, who's backed him, and he's gone out and said, look, this is the type of player, person I want. This is the guy that, for each position, this is the guy that I think fits the bill. Oh, we've already got a guy there that I can work with or whatever. And Crowdy's gone, yeah, go get him. Obviously there'll be some that we've gone for that we might have got outbid and whatnot. That's just the way that the market works. But Crowdy's backed into the hill, and those two together seem like if we can keep something together. Because again, I know Grix has had a bit of time previously with Marshall's previous squad, but this is his first year as Panthers with his own squad. So this to me has got to be seen as year one of however long the project is that we want to build. And I'm looking forward to seeing not just this year, but next year and the coming years.
Absolutely.
Hopefully develop some ties with the local community clubs as well, and polish some jets down there, and it's good times. I think we're in a really strong position. We were the same in 2019, so we're saying that we didn't want to have a repeat of it. I just think it's a different world now. We've got a different. Yeah. A lot of lads have got perspective now on.
We were cocky in 2019, but the team were, but myself included. I went away to witness in the first game of the season.
It was.
Away on and I went on the coach, and we were running 30 in them. I'd had it in my head, that's it. Yeah. And all right, one or two, there was a linesman that gave a forward pass, and the rest is. I might have thrown a cheeseburger at him. The rest is history. But it went downhill from there. That's it. But we were cocky, and that's, I think, is what's not the same this season. Is that it's not even quietly confident. We're just doing the job. Every member of the team, front, the squad, the back office, everybody's just doing the job the best they can.
For sure, and it seems to be a very local flavour about it. Like, there's how many local Halifax lads have we got playing for us? Like, we haven't even mentioned Zach McComb, who's come as well, and other players there as well. And the one thing that I'll just kind of finish on before we go on to the third part of of this podcast, we mentioned the word before. You mentioned the word before, Rick, about Brandon Moore. Grix has got respect. As a player. He's one of the most underrated players in Super League history, Simon Grix, by the player that he was, what he had to go through in terms of injuries and personal side of things as well. He's so well respected. If you get players and you get in a room with Simon Grix, I'd think it'd be hard to turn him down. I think it'd be hard to say no to Simon Grix, because it's like he's a player's coach. Like, he seems to me anyway to be a player's coach. He's someone that you really, really want to play for. And that's taking nothing away from the likes of Richard Marshall or Carl Harrison or Matt Callan, who we've had before, kind of thing. He's a young coach who is not long retired, who kind of knows what modern players need and want. And that's why he's a right man for the job. He's had 18 months or so to kind of have a trial run in terms of get the systems in place that he wanted to do with and know the players that he wants to keep and he wants to get. And you're right in what you're saying, Nathan. This is the start of his actual time now. The time is now, and the time is definitely now because we're running out of time on our Zoom, and we need to go on to the third and final part of Talking the Facts of Life and see you on the other side.
Cena!
Hello, welcome to the final part, hopefully, of Talking the Facts of Life. Proud to be sponsored by Eclipse Energy. The delays on there, and there's Nathan wearing it there as well. And delivery. It's myself, Rick, Nathan, and Will on tonight. And final part, we've got the return of some other competitions that we might as well mention them because Mr. Bonfield is wearing the bunny shirt there. And we all like a bit of Australian rugby, if we're all completely honest. But let's go close to home first of all. Super League has announced today that they return the Magic Weekend. Back in Newcastle. I'd love to go myself.
I'm furious.
But there's also a bash.
I think it was absolute terrible excuses as to why they kept it pending in their fixtures but cancelled in ours. They used the word logistics with the fans in Blackpool, but even though like 4 times more fans would have descended on Newcastle, you know, criminal. We could have ours. I want to see it come back in. I love it. Like Blackpool's it's such a good weekend. Sorry.
When everyone gets back out into normality and whatever, the seaside's a sort of viable destination. So maybe they're taking into account not just all the, fans that'll be there, and the tourists and the holiday makers and everything else. So maybe you're not going to get the same sort of thing in Newcastle. I don't know, bigger grounds, more space.
We used to have it on a bank holiday. We used to have it on the biggest bank holiday of the year. Come on.
Yeah, hopefully it's just delayed until next year. But next year will be the Magic Weekend because we get promoted to Super League, and that'll be another issue there. But let's start with let's go backwards a little bit. We mentioned it earlier on about the 14th team, the team to replace Toronto. It was Lee, as Cara did predict, as no one else did. In our 2020 review show. What do you reckon? As I say, it depends where the criteria are coming from. Personally, if we're on about the criteria, I think Toulouse would have been the best one because it's an expansion club being replaced by an expansion club. But again, the logistics of post-COVID world. Lee seems to be a bit of a conservative, safe choice, shall we say? But what do you guys reckon?
Lee going up is the best thing for the championship. It blows the competition wide open.
Definitely.
Toulouse are fantastic on the day, but their season depends on how well they travel. If Toulouse have a few sticky games on the road, they derail pretty quickly. There's a reason why they've got the players they've got, but they've never gone up. And that's because they don't travel as well as they should. Anyone can beat anyone in this championship, and it is going to be the tightest championship we'll have seen for a long, long, long time. I can't wait.
Well, what do you reckon?
They were overspending for our level, and it's not always about money, but it was getting to a stage where it was about money. They're signing players and backup players and squad players that would be first team at another 5 championship clubs. And so, having had what we've all experienced through League One and through the Championship with Toronto, it is a good thing that Lee have gone up.
Yeah, the point that was raised, which I completely agree with, at the end of the day, and it's kind of what we talked about when licensing was a thing. You pick your best team on the field. And the best team on the field for any of the choices was Lee. There was no debate in that. No debating that whatsoever. People thought Bradford might have been a better fit because of the legacy and the fan base and stuff. You can have 20,000 fans there, but if you're going to lose every week, what's the point? And you need a team that's going to compete, and Lee will definitely compete.
Lee have got a good chance.
Before. I've summoned Echo before. I'll maintain it. Lee will stay up. Lee will.
I agree.
Stay up. I think
agree.
Lee will stay up. I said before, when it was a normal thing, that Lee would walk the championship because the squad is scary how good it is in that level, and given the additions that they've made to make it a more Super League team, if you will, I think they'll stay up. There's teams in Super League which are going to be very, very worried about Lee coming up.
Wakefield, Hull KR.
Because there's definitely relegation in some way, shape, or form.
As well.
Well, that's
sure.
That's just,
but
you kind of mentioned with the signings, didn't you? You know,
go on, Rick.
You kind of mentioned with the signings, and they signed, you know, good first team players and good backup players. It kind of forced Super League's hand a bit, you know, to sort of say, look, our squad is ready, our stadium's ready, we're ready to go. But I think everyone's missing the best thing. I don't know if you've seen the tweets, but they're already out there. Deggs is back. We're going to have Super League Sunday.
I do like Beaumont. You can't knock a local guy who's willing to put his deep pockets into his local rugby league club, and he's a personality. I like him.
Trying out the characters. Long mate.
For sure.
Come on, keep us entertained.
And he's replacing one in David Argyle, and fair enough, David Argyle, what he said was just completely off the mark. But again, as a character, I was lucky enough to share drinks with him in Toronto. Very, 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 very nice guy, very generous guy, and that sort of thing. And he's I love you too, Rick. But he was actually on the radio show as well. That's where he knew me from, obviously. I just watched straight up and go, you've spoken to me on radio before. Well, that's another story. But yeah, Super League is going to be another competition, but it is without. It's going to be without its esteemed chairman, Mr. Elston. We spoke off air. If we thought that anyone who could do a worse job in rugby league than Nigel would, enter Mr. Elston.
What does that mean for pizza?
Pizzas.
Yeah, what does it mean for the pizza? Do you reckon they'll still get it?
I've no idea. I bet Papa John are kicking themselves by ever getting involved in it. But yeah, it's hard to describe how the game could have gone backwards under his tenureship, but it really, really has. And he's not even got to his main remit for the job, which is negotiate a new TV deal. And God knows what power
I'm going to have to be really careful. I could get really, really vocal and really upset about some of the things that he's done. But I'm glad that he's not with us anymore. And I wish whoever is the future chair of the Super League sees sense and they come back and they work together with the RFL as closely as possible.
Yeah. I'll give you one because, you know, I'm off the cuff. Anybody that knows me knows I'll tell you how it is. Can't stand the bloke. I'm glad to see the back of him. How can anybody, I don't care whether you're the chairman of Super League, you cannot forget there are 2 leagues below you. How can you negotiate a TV deal with the same company that just forget about the Championship and League One, and they've got rights to show it, and they show two rounds a year, playoffs and summer bash. Honestly, binning Sky off, it needs to come. The Championship need to separate and get their own TV deal.
You mentioned
hating. Negotiating a deal at less money than what it already was to see the Championship and League One to continue to be shafted when it is a far better competition than Super League. I'll stick my neck out and tell you that. We know who's going to win, like who's going to be up there in Super League. Wigan, Saints, maybe Leeds if they decide to, you know, play rugby. But Championship, it is such a better league. Honestly, can't stand him. I'm glad he's gone. But no doubt we'll get someone just as bad that comes in to replace him because, you know, that's what happens.
The Super League. What a rap. We'll give you a bit of that time to calm down from that one, Farrar. But you mentioned Super League. I touched on it maybe off air or a bit earlier that they've only really got themselves to blame for the situation they find themselves in. They went out and they headhunted this guy. when Nigel Wood left and they decided to split from the RFL, they were like, right, this is the guy we want to head it. And they were very vocal and they were all having the pictures taken. I think all the chairmen were at someone's ground, all having the pictures.
Yeah.
Ones that were backing them. So they've got to live with that now because their decision that they made that bettered their club affected the rest of the game across the country. And that can't be allowed to happen anymore. With regards to Rob Elston, he's left the game high and dry. I think it might never come out about what actually happened behind closed doors, but he's obviously taken him for a bit of a ride. He said he can promise and deliver something. That's how he got the job, and he's obviously not done it. I just think the most ironic thing for me was he was on TV slating Toronto for pulling out of the season a couple of weeks before the season started, and now he stepped down as chairman of the league 3 weeks before their season's about to start. So hot kettle black and all that. I don't think we'll miss him essentially, and like Farrar said, I think we might, unless someone else decides to step up and a bit Maurice Lindsay-esque and take the game by the scruff of the neck. I think it's more of the same in the future, sadly.
Good riddance.
No. Fair enough. Personally, I think the person who replaces him has got to come back with the RFL. They've got to join up again because it's daft. It's not like the Premier League and the AFL. Sorry, go on, Will.
No, just one thing. There's loads of talk about Eddie Hearn doing it and how much it'd be good for promoting the sport and all that kind of thing. I think it'd be fantastic.
I think his time
to do
passed,
some sort of
personally.
deal. Well,
Eddie Hearn said he won't touch rugby league with a barge pole because of the state it's in. If that doesn't speak volumes to you, I do not know what will.
Simfield.
The danger with Eddie Hearn is that he'll want too much power and completely change the face of rugby league beyond any sort of comprehension. And
but why not? Why not and take it away from
the point I'm going to make is. No, I agree. I completely agree. Well, the issue that I've got with the Hearns is the other sports that they're involved with, snooker and darts. They're the ones that they only focus on the top table. The PDC and the Snooker World Champion. They're brilliant what they do. They're absolutely fantastic what they do. Watch darts every year that it's on for Premier League and stuff, and Snooker World Championship and that is brilliant. But anything underneath that kind of gets forgotten about, and it bridges it's a massive gap between the top of the PDC. They don't, like for darts, for instance, they don't necessarily give too much hoots about the people rising up through the game or the kind of like amateur players kind of thing. And my only issue with the Hearns is that they'll forget about your legacy club, like your Hunslets, Oldhams, and all the things from there. I'd love to prove wrong. I think it'd do a lot better, Johnston, but who wouldn't really? But that's only that it could be a bit too much of a control. We need a change. We need something different. That's what happened.
Yeah, I don't know if I could quote him on it, but I'm
pretty
sure he said he'd get rid of promotion and relegation. So that openly tells you what we'd be back to. So
there you go. And who wants to go back to licensing?
I don't even think it'd be licensing.
It works for the NRL.
It does work for the NRL, but again,
it's just a completely different culture as the NRL, though.
Yeah,
that's your thing. That's the thing. Do you really want to be a feeder club? Halifax could be a feeder club for Leeds Rhinos, and that would be their only purpose.
They don't really have a second tier in Australia. It is your NRL, and you feed the NRL.
It's all for the purpose. Yeah. It's all for the purpose of your top teams, whereas it's too tribalised is British sport and British Rugby League. Australia kind of isn't, and I get what you mean, Will. I completely see your point, but it's a completely different culture. Is Australia Rugby League? Go on, Rick.
Different. Only care about the top level and all that sort of stuff. Don't tell me any other one of these sports hold the TV rights to the lower levels of their sports just so they can they can get a better deal, they're not selling them short. They're all on Channel 5 or Bravo TV or whatever, Dave, whatever people are watching these days. You can watch these things or on apps. You know, they're not being held ransom. Where our lower leagues are being held ransom to 6 to 7 Super League chairmen, and that can't be allowed to happen anymore.
It's criminal.
No, it can't. And our product, there must be some value in our product, because the BBC, for instance, wouldn't put the clout that they're putting behind the World Cup this year if they didn't think it was worth showing. They're showing every English game live prime time on BBC nationwide. They're showing all the other games streaming on Red Button and iPlayer on Sports and stuff. They wouldn't do that if they didn't think there was a product there. And as I said before on previous podcasts, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if we went to a Channel 5 or a BT Sport or something like that, because I'm a bit of a rugby union fan for my sins, and I do watch the
Whoa. I didn't know that. I'm off. Come on.
It could be worse. Could be an American football fan, but but the point I make is their coverage, what they do with the game, is really, really good. It's brilliant what they do, and that's coupled with when they get the BBC and ITV coverage for Six Nations and whatnot.
But that's because the RFU don't have the hands in the pockets of the chairmans in the top leagues like clubs. You don't see the RFU's chairman best pals with Newcastle Falcons chairman. It's completely separate. There's
no. It's an old boys network, is the RFU. It's very much an old boys network, is the RFU. But
there's a governing body and there's your clubs, and that's how it should be. And that is how it should be. Because the governing body should not shaft your clubs like we get every season.
And clubs chairmen should not have a majority rule over a sport. That's just inherently wrong, because it's just complete vested interest.
The clubs should have had nothing to do with whether Toronto should have been removed from Super League. It should have had someone with a backbone to stand there and decide whether they're good for the sport or not. And then if someone had that backbone and nous, we would see Toronto still in Super League because they did nothing but good for Rugby League.
100%.
Yeah, we could talk all night about if COVID had never happened, Toronto would still be in Super League and that sort of thing. Nothing would have happened. They'd have gone from strength to strength and that. And it is inherently unfair that there wasn't an independent choice to see whether or not Toronto should stay up, but there was for the team to replace them. It's just a lot of bollocks in my eyes. But anyway, we're digressing a little bit. We're on four soapboxes here. Let's bring it to order somewhat. Don't get me wrong, I love a debate, but we could have started off with this. Anyway, go on, Rick, you miming again.
Let's end on a positive then. Let's end it on a
yes. Let's not.
Crowds announcers coming back in. Fantastic.
Yep. Who?
Crowds.
Yes.
Crowds.
Yes, crowds. We saw it. We saw it on the weekend with the NRL, because we really want to talk about the NRL because Willie's our unofficial NRL correspondent. We saw crowds, and we've seen crowds at the NRL for quite a while. And the first action of the year was the All-Stars game. I only saw the highlights of it, but that's all I'll say about it.
Well, it was proper. I mean, they were straight into, as you say, crowds. Just everything. The production was fantastic. The Maoris and the Indigenous, they had a hacker, and then the Indigenous guys did the war dance, and just the production of it was fantastic. And then it was matched on the field. In a way, it was quite slow to start. It was sort of 2 till after halfway. But there was a lot of possession, and there was a lot of action. For the first pre-season game, they were straight in at a really high level. It's the sort of pre-season trials this weekend. South Sydney are playing St George, and then the season starts properly on the 11th of March. So it's only a couple of weeks away. But the skills on show were absolutely top draw.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Love it.
Again,
love it. I'm up early enough with the kids, straight on the phone. If they're on Sky, I'll watch it. It's so good to watch.
Definitely. And we've got crowds coming back for the Fev game, hopefully. 30th of May. Sunday 30th of May, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
But yeah,
Can't
so
wait.
I've been doing a bit of number crunching for you fellas. So in terms of it, anywhere over 8,000 can offer a 50% capacity. Even without the Skirkit shed, we meet that. So I believe it'll be, if not social distance, masks. I'm telling you now, there is no excuse why, with the Panthers' interest and the genuine thirst for someone to watch live sport, we cannot see a sellout on the 30th of May.
Definitely.
4,000.
I completely agree.
I cannot wait.
That's got to be the mission now for the club to do that.
And what a statement of intent that would be for us in the future and for the rest of the championship. Here we are. Yeah, we rebranded. People have with the same 1,500 old fans, but there's 2,500 new fans ready to go. Do you know that's it?
I don't expect it.
Definitely.
I really don't expect it. But like I said, there's no reason why it can't happen. My job,
even if. Sorry, go on, Nathan.
My job's brand exposure, and now I've got a brand to expose. I sit down and have his first meeting when we get a bit closer, and I'm going to go to town with it. Literally, Halifax Town Centre is going to get sick of this face. Even if it's a post or kid for a quid ticket, I will do anything I can because it's such a great game and it is criminally underrated.
Definitely.
And
yeah, even if we get an extra 500 people there, it's still 500 more. And if they love it there, they'll tell other people, and word of mouth will travel. And it should be amazing. Not just. I'll be emotional. I'll say it right. Yeah, I'll have a lump in the throat when I'll be like, wow, I've missed that.
I think it will be one of them. Like we're all at the back out. We were like a big group of softies sometimes, and you know, when the players come out, we'll warm up that first Ali Ali, and I think by the time it's finished and that first ball's kicked, I think I will probably have a quiet blub because, like you say, it's the 30th of May, innit? And the last live game I watched, I believe, was the 1st of March, Lee away.
8th of March, Lee away, yeah.
Yeah, so that was the last game of rugby I watched. I didn't make it to Sheffield in the Cup. So, yeah, it's been a long time. Every Sunday since it got cancelled, I stuck on a fax top, sat at my table at 3 o'clock and gone like this. It's just one of them. I can't.
Torturing yourself there. Torturing yourself.
I can't begin to describe to you how good it will feel. Like, I know it'll be socially distanced and masks, and I'm really sceptical about going back to that because I want to go back to be able to, you know, score a last-minute winner and be close enough to get absolutely soaked in beer.
Yeah.
Because that is what rugby is for me. Like, I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to have people telling me off for waving my flag so they can't see the game. I don't want a new normal. I just want normal. And to get just a taste of it, I think will be fantastic, and no better game for it, to be honest. As soon as I saw the announcement, I was on the fixture list, and we play Sheffield on the 16th, and then there's a week off, and we're away, and then it's Fev, and my eyes just lit up. I was like, what a game to come back to! What a game!
And hopefully, if we do well before, obviously people will be streaming it. There should be some momentum going for it, and then they're even more desperate to get into the ground. And that. So
well, it's a snowball. It's a snowball. Results-based industries. If we're winning, the interest will be there.
Definitely. And just before we finish, is definitely the last part of it. It's Plug Central now. If we do plugs here, we've got Nathan on. Obviously, because as you've already heard before, he's quite a passionate fan. He must be said. It's wonderful to see, but he also puts his passions into other rugby league activities.
Yeah, so I've got a Facebook page, me, and various other fans. We've got Worky fan that run it, a Leeds fan, a Warrington fan, a Cass fan. So there's a group of us. We do podcasts, various other stuff. We basically cover everything rugby league. Like, we just bang it out there. We've got 7,000 people. We've got his own little podcast. Awesome. So my little gift to you guys there is the fact that due to us having his own podcast, like, we get people messaging us like, can we share it, like their podcast? And we always say no, but I spoke with the lads, and you guys will be the only podcast that will be freely shared every episode at Rugby League Daily. So,
Yes.
the Talking Facts of Life will be a sort of an exclusively shared podcast on our page for you guys.
Good lads.
So hopefully it'll
You what, Rick?
generate.
I said we better step a game up then.
Nah, keep it as it is, boys.
Nah, it means a lot. That's amazing. Cheers, Nathan. I say what, and we'll plug alike, and all the best to you with your venture. It's a very good thing that you're doing. Ours is a rugby league podcast with just a hint of Halifax Panthers. Yours is very much rugby league. So yeah, it's all good.
Would you say we had just a hint of Halifax Panthers?
Yeah, just a smidge.
Just a hint.
You're a chef, Will. It's just a little garnish of
Salt Bay.
definitely. And Will, you've got your NRL resident here. There's the fantasy league that you want to plug.
Yeah, it's something for this NRL fantasy, same as fantasy football, fantasy Super League, whatever you do. But the way the Aussies do it over there, the stats and stuff are absolutely fantastic. It's big money stuff. I'd like to say it's big money prizes. First place is like a trip to Australia and 2 weeks holiday and all the rest of it. Second and third prize is a voucher for KFC.
Nice.
So it's not but this
a bit of a step down, but
just a little bit. This is my third or fourth year playing. Last year was my best. I was inside the top 1,000 out of over 125,000. So it's proper geeky. So for you guys tonight, I've started a league which is Talking the Facts of Life League, and I've got the league code. I don't know what's the best way to share it. It's like capital letters. It's capital H, capital W 4, capital W, capital Z 6, W 3. Snappy.
Don't worry, the text will
lovely.
be bottom of your screen now.
Yes, and we'll share it on our socials as well. So anyone wants to get involved in that, we'll share that.
It on. I don't know what we can do. If only we've all just come together. I don't know if we can. I'll see if we can find some prize for those guys who wants to get involved by the end of the season. But something else.
Yeah. On that note, we do one every year with the Super League, like in our like little group chat, and we just do a pot. Like everyone that enters puts a tenner, and whoever wins it at the end of the year, we just divide it between the top three. It works. Right. Obviously, it gets derailed, but end of the day, it'll only go into a end of season piss up probably. So 100%. That's how it works. A final little plug from me, like a smidgy one. It's just to see if I get any interest, because as you probably learned already, I'm not a very filtered person. I am thinking about doing watch along. Like, so I don't know if you've seen like the football clubs do it, Arsenal and stuff on their YouTubes. I stream on Twitch, so I'll probably use it from that platform where I'll be live on Twitch, but watching the streamed Facts games at the same time. So, like, obviously I can't show the Facts game because of copyright and the fact that you got to pay to get it. But, like, you can watch along with me and you get to hear some expletives, probably. And,
Good stuff. Well, we'll definitely have to end it there because we're running short. Nathan, Will, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Absolute pleasure. Rick, as always, thank you very much. And yourselves, thank you very much for watching. Up the Facts, Panthers!
Up the Panthers! Up the Panthers!